first thing I think that it calls to me to talk about is the difference between, I'm going to give you a tangible, awesome thing that can create massive change in your life right now. The first thing I want to talk about is the difference between open-ended goals and closed-ended goals. Okay. A closed-ended goal is when you specifically want to get a specific result. An open-ended goal is when you're just going to show up with no attachment to the result, right? The difference between these two is night and day, right? So a closed-ended goal would be, I'm going to make $1 million in 6 months. An open-ended goal is, I'm going to do an hour of work on money every day for 6 months, right? And not be attached to what the result is, right? A closed-ended goal would be, I'm going to weigh this weight by this day. An open-ended goal would be, I'm going to work out 6 days a week for 100 days in a row and let my body do what it wants to do on the other side of that. An open-ended goal is a choice of just, am I going to show up while you're not married to a specific result? And this can create a massive amount of change in your life. If you just show up and meditate every day for 100 days with no attachment to what happens, your life is going to be very different than if you start to say something like, I have to get to some arbitrary idea of enlightenment. Remember, every closed-ended goal that you create is a goal that you can see from the beginning of the journey. Right? So if you can create that outcome, then you don't actually change that much. Meaning, like, if you start at the beginning and then say, in a year from now, I will have received this or become this or weigh this or have this type of relationship, then you could see it from the beginning of the journey. So big deal, when you achieve it, you already from the beginning knew that that was possible, right? So you were already at a point where you knew that you could do that. So imagine if instead of you knowing what the outcome is, you just show up and do something and choose to show up with no attachment to the result every day. What's calling me to tell you about this? Well, one thing is this thing I'm doing called jiu-jitsu. I've shown up 6 days in a row. And if my goal is to get a black belt, I'm going to be really frustrated and exhausted immediately. But if I'm just like, I'm going to jiu-jitsu with no attachment to the result, then I actually have no problem with the fact that everybody just takes turns kicking my ass. I just show up, I get thrown to the ground, I learn a little thing, I have no idea what the hell's going on, I feel Joey put me in some arbitrary headlock that isn't arbitrary to him, I had no idea that anyone could do that to me, and I'm totally experiencing a combination of feeling humbled, I'm totally experiencing a part of me that is actually learning to attack and learn how to control something when I've spent my whole life learning to let go of control. So I'm just like telling myself, before I move forward from this, I'm going to go 100 days of jiu-jitsu without at all questioning it and allow myself to get tapped as much and learn different things. But I am not married to a goal, so I get to learn all kinds of new things every day. I'm wide open to what I'm getting from this. One thing that I discovered today, one thing I discovered today is, I think as we keep doing this inner work, we go deeper and deeper and deeper in our body. And definitely one area that's clearing out in me is that lowest chakra center, which is almost all jiu-jitsu is doing the work from. Like jiu-jitsu is literally, I got some weird leg wrapped around shit called guard. And all the time I'm working with someone in a guarded position and my job is to keep them from getting out of my guard. So we're like, crotch to crotch on top of each other. And I got to keep this person wrapped up in my guard. And now they got to not get out. And I'm literally only using my legs and my hips and my stomach and all this core work, which is also the essence of where a lot of my masculine energy is stored. And I had been kind of ignoring that and carrying a little bit of shame there. And all this stuff is starting to come out. And I've noticed there's a new strength in me. I've noticed my body is getting stronger. I've noticed an excitement about the next class. And that's all because I'm not married to a specific result. Imagine if I was just sitting here like, when do I get the black belt? Right? Imagine if I was just like, I got to get to a black belt. I would be so frustrated probably for the 9 years it might take to get there, right? but instead I'm in the journey. And if you are in an open goal, right? An open goal where you're just showing up and not attached to the outcome, you are in the journey. But if you're in it doesn't matter till I hit that weight, that idea, that, that outcome, that relationship, you're always frustrated until you hit that goal. So my offer to you is be excited about what you're becoming and what you're discovering each day through the power of an open-ended goal. Right? So for me, open-ended goals include going for long walks each day and then coming back and like talking to God in a new way. Choosing to show up each day through jiu-jitsu for me. You could do it through meditation. You could say, I'm going to learn to cook a thing each day for 100 days. I'm going to, what's yours? I'm going to meditate an hour a day each day. Even if it's 10 minutes a day, even if it's 20 minutes a day. Can you give yourself a show up assignment? And if you're like, I don't like that level of consistency, can you say 5 days a week? Can you say 4 days a week within 100 days? And give yourself just some new possibilities that open space for you to show up, right? Open space for a higher version of you to show up. Because in your body, as I was saying on Sunday, there's buried energy in your body. And if you just say, okay, I don't know what I'm going to become. I have no attachment to what I'm will become. I don't care about what I become. It's about what it wants me to see. And I'm not stuck on that outcome. Your whole life will change, right? The reason that I teach meditation now, the reason we have Evolving Out Loud, Exploring Oneness on Sundays, and good news, everybody, the reason that Monday nights are now about to be Meditation Mondays, and the reason that it's totally possible is about to merge the two things on Monday and Tuesday into a Tuesday night thing, which is a combination of open mic and then you going from room to room. It's going to be it's totally possible. Tuesdays, we're going to just be meditating on Monday nights. The reason that happened is because I became a meditator the day that I said to myself, I'm going to do 100 days in a row. My life changed when I did it 100 days in a row. I started understanding things about myself. I had no attachment to hitting enlightenment or calming I was just like, I'm meditating. I have no attachment to what happens. And because I had no attachment to what happens, so much more happened. Every day I would meditate. First, you'd think nothing's happening. Well, good thing I wasn't attached to a goal. It was like I'm meditating even without any expectation of what could happen. But I got to about day 50 and day 60, and things started opening up in such a surreal way that everything that I had hoped to get was disappearing. And what I was becoming was transforming. Like what I was becoming was this different human being. And then I just noticed this opening by days 70 through 90, where just massive success in all areas was just happening. And then it occurred to me way later, how many things have I avoided that I don't know about by entering the meditation world, right? How many yeses that are actually no's would I have said yes to? And how many anxiety-based moments did I avoid? I still feel those things, but I guarantee you I feel them less because of that, right? I started thinking about what life did I avoid? Maybe there was a car accident I didn't have because I was more focused in here, right? Like, is there a whole other world that I never had to experience because I created it? So instead of just going, what are the results that I'm getting from this? What are the negative results I'm avoiding by showing up and doing that? What are the stressful things that I don't even know were in a different world that I never ever experienced happening? So instead of just seeing, wow, I got this, what did I avoid? What pain did I avoid? What stress did I avoid? Right? And so, through that, also everything that happened since the 100 days of meditation wouldn't have happened. And it also helped me to be ready for times that were really hard in my life and to find who I am, because it gave me the truth of what I am. And it helped me through circumstances that were trying to bring up other things, right? So when I meditated 100 days, it also created an entire new career. It created a new avenue. It created new possibilities. It created the 2 books. Everything changed in my life from that. Now, a reason we don't do something is because, well, Dot says you're so disciplined though. The only reason I was disciplined is I had a comprehension of the possibilities on the other side of something. And one of the things I've said for years, and actually is a quote my friend Diego said to me, but when you let go of something, the only reason you're stressing is your mind can only measure what you will lose. You can't see what you'll gain. So when you start meditating, you just are focused on, I could be going to breakfast right now or watching Good Morning America, and instead I'm going to meditate. And you're focused on the loss, right? And so if you're focused on the loss, then you actually associate it will be more painful to do this. But if you comprehend that doing this every day, like I have enough in me to know that doing 100 days of jiu-jitsu will bring much bigger shit than anything I can anticipate right now. My goal of being a black belt would be so small compared to my understanding with total vagueness that my life is going to discover so many things that I can't see right now. And I know for you that if you decide to show up and give yourself something that calls to you, at one point you'll start to comprehend some benefits that you weren't anticipating, and synchronicities and surprises and weird things that like reward you past any level that you were anticipating, you were aiming for. This is where you fuel yourself with magic. This is where you start to go, oh, I didn't know about that benefit. See, when I was meditating every day, at first it was just, I was 2 hours a day asking the same question most people ask me, how do you have time for 2 hours a day? But after 50 days, the amount of benefits that I discovered were so much bigger, and it saved me so much more time that I noticed this quote that Michael Beckwith said became the truth. Michael Beckwith said, don't shove meditation into your busy life. Instead, evolve and revolve your life around your meditation. So I'm meditating and it would say, let go of that thing, move from this, surrender this, let go. And all of a sudden I had more and more and more time. Right. And so my life was around the meditation. It was like God became the truth. And whatever after that is the byproduct of that. But it took care of all the things that you'd be scared. I don't have time for that. Why? Because I prioritize money. But when you prioritize God, the money moves much faster. I don't have time for that. Why? Because I have a relationship I got to work on. No. Connect to source and your relationship will evolve much faster. I don't have time for that. Why? Because I have a kid. No, connect to source so your kid does the same. They will start to be calmer. When I meditate, the days that I meditate, Vivi falls asleep much quicker, right? The days that I meditate, there's a softness in everything. There's a seeing. There's probably arguments you've avoided. There's stress you've avoided, right? But it doesn't have to be meditation for you. It could be what is it that you want more of? And the answer that scares you the most is probably the answer. Not always, but it's probably, right? Like, why would it scare me? Oh, because a pattern doesn't want to do that. It's not like a pattern for for me to whatever jiu-jitsu every day. And then for you, it might be to get back to tango dance lessons, or to cook something new every day, or to clean the house for an hour a day, or listen to a new interview from a different speaker every day, or work out every day and then take days off, whatever it is for you, right? For some people that have felt single forever and are social anxiety, you could go out on 20 dates a day. One time I was on a plane and I met a woman who went on a dating site, and she said something like, I can't remember the amount, but it was something like, I went on 21 dates in a row. Like every night I went out with a different person every day. And I met my husband on day 11. And I was like, wow, like she just decided date, find someone, then they're it. Right. And you could do anything. There's no rules. Right. So Marianne says, write every day. Now, what if Marianne, you just write every day for 100 days? No attachment to, I need to make a book out of it. No attachment to, it has to be a blog that the public sees. No attachment to, how many of these will I sell, or how many views does it get, right? For you, whatever it is, it's trying to come through, whether it's no more coffee for 100 days, whether it's whatever. And it doesn't have to be 100 days, but man, I will say right now, when you go 100 days or 90 days even, or whatever, you get to the point where it explains itself much more. By days 50 through the 90, you are getting so many synchronicities and learning so many things about yourself that you are in more surrender. The best part of doing something like this is you end up being forced into a surrender, right? You end up being forced into a new level of surrender, right? Because you're just like, okay, I don't need to figure things out. I just go each day in this thing, and it will tell me everything after a few days, right? So that's an offer to you, first of all, the difference between open-ended goals and closed-ended goals, because an open-ended goal is a choice. I just choose to show up and do it. A closed-ended goal is, I don't know if the circumstances will be what they are, right? If I have to hit $1 million by this date, well, what if the economy crashes or you get affected by some external thing that gets in the way of that, or whatever? You don't want to make the goal your God, right? You don't want to make the outcome your God. That's a big mistake we made. That's an old paradigm, right? And you can, if that's growth for you and that's a new thing for you, but I want to dare you to not make the outcome the biggest deal in the world, because you will just need to experience getting that outcome to see that isn't the answer. But the power of showing up every day and opening yourself up to possibility and just showing up, then you're making the action and what you're becoming and what you are and what's coming through more amazing than the results. In fact, you get the results much quicker because you have no attachment to them, right? It comes through as a result of you showing up and staying in the room. So I know for me, just showing up and jiu-jitsuing every day is creating all kinds of surprises. I want to dare you to give yourself something like that. Nothing is as true